episode of the Boulevard. We got me, Tyler, and Jose here tonight. We got college football playoffs this weekend, and we all are excited. For those of you that are new here, we are a sports betting podcast. We give sports betting advice, and we break down sports that we love. We enjoy it, and yeah, so take our advice with a grain of salt, but we are pretty decent at what we do. And for those of you who are new to sports betting and it is legal in your state, you can go over to DraftKings and FanDuel and get a sign up bonus for $100 or $200 worth of free bets and use it on some of these picks for college football playoffs this weekend. First, before we get into some news, how's everybody doing? Jose, I know you went to a ball game yesterday. How was that?
I don't know if you can see it. This is a hoodie I bought at the LA Bowl, UNLV Cal.
Yeah.
Pretty good game, I guess. Pretty interesting, pretty fun. Um, there was like 200 people there, and about 150 of them were Cal fans. So it wasn't very full, but the traffic wasn't bad getting leaving. So that was the positive. Overall, though, fun experience, interesting game. I had Cal money line. It is what it is. Just wanted some action on the game. But like I said, really fun. Excited to watch these bowl games tomorrow. I'm sorry, these bowl games, but the playoff tomorrow and Saturday. Obviously, we've been looking at these lines for like a week or two now, and I think it's exciting to see it to come to fruition. And we can bet on these games and see how it goes.
We got Big T in here tonight with the face cam. He finally got his face cam. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, rolling it off the iPad, so we'll make this work until we get an actual camera.
And then quick shout out, we might have some new merch coming, baby.
That's right.
Sweatshirts, shirts, hoodies. So and then I'm gonna go. We'll go ahead and announce it. We are doing a 50. When we hit 50 subscribers, we will be doing a giveaway. I will be doing a $50 gift card to either Amazon, PlayStation, Xbox, whatever you want to pick. And then we also will be giving away some Boulevard merch, sweatshirts. You just need to know your size. In order to do that, we have to hit 50 subscribers. Like the video, share the videos, and then comment who you think is going to win the college football playoff. Once we hit 50 subscribers, we will announce the winner of the giveaway. And then one thing that I want to do really quickly, Tyler and Jose, they don't even know about this, but if we, and this is a long shot, but if we hit, everyone knows I'm a college basketball fan. If we hit 200 subscribers before March Madness, I will give away someone a ticket to go to the first round, um, wherever they want to go, Dayton, whatever, Greensboro,
Ooh,
yeah.
Can I
So
answer
I will
that?
buy.
yeah, I was about to say.
I will buy a ticket. They're about $100. That's $100 free ticket to go watch March Madness in person. So you know what I mean. So if you want to win that, share it, like it, and get us to 200 subscribers before March Madness. That will be our goal.
Hey,
Uh,
oh, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
but uh, we got some college football news we'll run through really quick, and then we will start breaking down these games. I got a bunch of bookmarks on here I kind of want to run through, and then we'll just get some quick thoughts from you guys. Uh, Old Dabo's using the portal for once. He grabs defensive end Will Helt from Purdue, the number one edge rusher. Old Dabo, I think he's starting to realize he's going to have to use the portal over there. Mel Kiper Jr. suggesting Quinn Ewers needs to transfer if his draft grade remains the same. Quick thoughts on that? I would agree, wouldn't you guys? It seems
Yeah.
like it's Arch Manning time in Texas after this year.
Yeah, especially with how much they're paying him to sit on the bench.
Yeah.
I'm sure they want to see him hit the field.
Yeah.
As a USC fan, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest to see Quinn Ewers suit up for USC next year.
Yeah.
Just what I've been hearing. But yeah, I think we've seen a lot of commotion, like in the media, talking about how quarterbacks in particular need to stay for their senior year instead of going to the NFL because development just isn't there. So I think
Hmm.
you'll see a lot more quarterbacks choose to come back. I know our boy Drew Aller already made his decision to come back next year at Penn State. So
Hmm.
it would I as of right now I fully expect Quinn Ewers to come back to college, just not at Texas.
Yep, I agree. And then Penn State, speaking of transfers, Penn State backup quarterback who I think might be a better quarterback than Aller. He's announced that he's transferring. I think he has 1 year of eligibility left. Let's see who quick transfer news. Who I know Mateer, number one quarterback goes to Oklahoma. There's a few on top of my mind. Oregon got the I think the number one offensive lineman. Caden Salter from Liberty's heading to Colorado to battle Julian Lewis, the freshman quarterback coming in for the starting job.
I don't know if you guys did you see the report today? I forget who it was, but it was on some podcast or something where this guy was saying how there's a team in the playoff right now who has to pay their players to stay so they can feel the team.
Yes,
did you guys see
saw
that?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know who it is. I expect it to be one of the top teams because I don't think you're going to want to pay to get a backup off Boise State. You know, like I would expect like it's in Georgia or Oregon where their players, you know, are really good, but they're just not good enough to crack their starting rotation.
Yeah.
But just a really interesting tidbit because we had talked about this before in detail, right? Where just because you make the playoff doesn't mean you're guaranteed to have your players. Like at some point, players will start opting out of playoff games as well, and the rumblings are already starting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just food for thought going forward.
Transfer portal is ramping up quick here. A lot of people already committed to other schools. Malik from Duke, he's already gone to Oregon. I mean, it's just crazy. Who did Florida State get? We were talking about the other day. We were like, we don't really think that.
Castellanos from Boston College.
Yeah. So, Diego
That's a
Pavia,
weird fit for me too.
Yeah, Diego Pavia is back for Vanderbilt next year. He gets another year of eligibility. Speaking of eligibility, there's been a ruling that JUCO players, their years won't count in JUCO. They could still get 4 years of eligibility, and then NCAA if they transfer in from a JUCO.
That's wild.
So
look, I'm all for player rights. Like I don't. If you want to transfer 4 times in 4 years, I don't really give a shit. You know what I mean? Like the world will always adjust. But this is too far, in my opinion. Like you can't, like to have JUCO guys go to JUCO and then not have that count against your overall eligibility. Because I'm not saying JUCO still is quality. Like you can go to JUCO and still have an NFL career after that. Like it's not like you go to JUCO and it's over. So but now you're saying okay, you're gonna go to JUCO and you're still gonna get a fresh start in college football. I mean, you're going to have 23, 24, 25-year-old guys playing, against potentially 17, 18-year-old kids at this point. If you're letting players stay in JUCO for a few years, it's just not right for the kids, not right for the game. High school recruiting as we know it, I mean, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, high school recruiting was so fun to follow. Like, I used to love looking at high school recruiting. Now it's worthless. If you're a college coach, if you want to recruit, it should be the portal number 1, and now it should be JUCO number 2. Like, I'd rather have a JUCO kid than a high school kid at this point. You know what I mean?
I remember the days of us getting up early and watching signing day all day together. Yeah.
I remember skipping class in college to watch signing day.
Yeah, and it's a shame because it's not what it once was. It's not even close to what it once was. And the portal and now with JUCO, it definitely plays a massive role in that.
Yep. Speaking of transfers, I'm not trying to spread rumors here. It's not confirmed, but there has been a little bit of chatter about Ryan Williams leaving Alabama. I think that would be the biggest one. I don't know if he actually will. I'm sure they'll pay him whatever he wants to stay. There is some rumblings of him going to Ole Miss. So I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Anything else here? Isaiah Bond is a long shot to play against Clemson this weekend. He has a high ankle sprain. He is a game time decision, but he looks very limited and is focused on rehab more than anything at the moment. So there's some news for that Clemson-Texas game that we'll get into. And then last but not least, Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, and Texas all passed out of being on the new Netflix documentary. Did you all see that about the Netflix documentary on the SEC? Netflix is doing a new series following the 2024 SEC college football season called Drive to Survive. And about half the teams opted out of being in it.
Good.
I mean, why would you want Netflix there anyways as a distraction for all these, you know what I mean? For these young kids, it gets to them. Why would you even want them there? You know what I mean?
There's already too much or so much as it is as far as social media and everything else. Like it's impossible to keep that out of the building and away from everything as it is and just add more to it. I honestly don't think it's necessary, but
yeah. And then, so that's really about it for news. One quick, easy trivia for you guys here. Head coaches, assistant coach don't count. Okay, so if they've been an assistant coach before, it don't count. 4 of the 12 college football head coaches have experience when it comes to coaching playoff football? First of all, who are those 4 coaches? They were a head coach in the playoffs. Who are the 4
Like in
coaches?
the 4 current in the CFP.
Yes. Out of the 12
Kirby,
teams.
Kirby,
Mhm,
Dabo,
Ryan Day.
Ryan
mhm,
Day.
and then there's one more that's been a
I was gonna
head
say
coach in the
Kalen DeBoer,
playoffs.
but I was gonna
Uh,
say Kalen DeBoer, but Bama didn't make it.
yeah.
Um,
Lanning, Dan.
No, Dan was an
no, he didn't make
assistant
it.
at Georgia.
James Franklin never made it.
Nope.
Red Lashley didn't make it.
Kurt Signetti didn't make it. Oh, Marcus
Signetti
Freeman.
definitely didn't.
No.
Marcus Freeman didn't make it. Okay, which 4? Can you repeat the question again?
4 of you've got 3 of them right. Kirby, Dabo, and Ryan Day. 4 of the 12 college football head coaches have head coaching experience when it comes to coaching in the playoffs. There's one more team that
Kenny Dillingham didn't do it.
he's 0-1 in the playoffs.
Danielson didn't do it.
Am I tripping?
Kenny Dillingham.
I mean,
Didn't do it.
Sarkisian's the only one we hadn't listed.
Yeah, it's Steve. He's
Oh,
0-1.
Sarkisian, yeah. Sarkisian.
Yeah.
He's 0-1. Who has the out of the 4 coaches, who has the most wins in the college football playoff? Or in college football playoffs since the playoffs have emerged. Even when it was 4 teams, who has the most wins?
It's got to be Kirby, huh?
Nope.
Ryan Day.
Or Dabo.
It's Dabo.
Yeah.
He's got 6 wins. He also has the most losses, 4 losses in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Old Kirby, he's 5-1 in college football playoffs. Ryan Day's 1-3 in the college football playoffs. And Steve Sark is 0-1. So just a little bit of trivia for everyone there. And by the way, if anyone listening in the live stream has any questions about any games, it doesn't even have to be a playoff game. Just throw it out there. We'll get to it as soon as we see it. But let's start off here with our Friday night game. Indiana headed to Notre Dame. Looks like we might have a snow game as well. Some cold temps. Spread is sitting at -7, over under a 51.5. Who wants to take this one first here?
I'll let Jose go on that one.
Are you sure? Because I kind of wanted to go last.
Okay. No, I'll go. I won't do a whole lot because I know you probably got a lot to say about this one.
Yeah, we'll let you kind of have the floor on this one. I'll say really quick. I don't have a whole lot to say. I won't bet this game because I have a Notre Dame future. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a defensive battle with the cold weather too. Maybe a little bit lower scoring game here. I do like Notre Dame at home. I think it's going to be rocking loud. I think they're going to be able to run the ball well and spread it. I think Riley's going to make some plays with his legs. And ultimately, Notre Dame will win. Will they cover? I'm not entirely sure. But I do lean Notre Dame here. Go ahead, Big T.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know which way I lean one way or the other as far as the spread goes. I do think Notre Dame will win. But as far as the spread goes, I don't know. I haven't really made my mind up, and I guess I'm going to see Jose's points to see if it sways me one way or the other. Indiana does have a good run defense, and I'm curious to see, especially in the snow, like throwing the ball isn't going to be much of a factor. And I'm wondering if that's going to hurt Indiana more than it hurts Notre Dame because Notre Dame's not an air it out kind of team. And I do think sorry, I'm watching this Chargers game. We absolutely stink. I do think Riley Leonard will be able to do a lot with his legs, and I'm curious to see how that affects Indiana because I don't think they've really played anybody who is, a pretty good runner with their legs as far as the quarterback position to be able to do both. But with that being said, I do agree with the fact that it's probably going to be a low-scoring game. So I don't see a whole lot of points being scored. So for that off alone makes me want to lean taking Indiana as far as covering, but I do think Notre Dame wins.
Both teams have really good defenses.
Yeah.
Both teams are very balanced, run and pass, but methodical. So, Jose, go for it. I know you got probably an extensive breakdown on this game, and I'd love to hear it.
Well, I think first and foremost, right, this is the biggest event taking place in the state of Indiana ever. Like I can't, there's not much to do over there, and a Notre Dame home playoff game is by far like it's going to cause the most commotion within the city. So you're right on that point. The stadium is going to be very, it's going to be raucous. It's going to have a lot of hype, energy, all that stuff, you know. But I think when we thought about Notre Dame heading into the playoffs, right, we kind of expect them to have like a really big home field advantage because teams have to go up, go play them in the snow. It'd be a different kind of road trip, but they got matched up against a team that's within the same state as them. So they really don't have that much of a home field advantage other than the fact the crowd's going to be raucous. Indiana is used to all the elements that Notre Dame is going to play in. If it is snow, it's not like it's a West Coast team going to play snow. It's a team within the same state, so they're used to that. So that kind of advantage is nullified just by the pure fact the team they're playing is from the same area. So I don't see a massive advantage there. Then I take a look at, well, what does Notre Dame do well? What's their strength? They have one strength, in my opinion. That's it. They can run the ball really well. That's all Notre Dame can do. Okay, Riley Leonard is an okay quarterback. He's a good quarterback. I wouldn't say he's a great quarterback, an elite quarterback. He's good. He's okay. He's serviceable. I don't think you can win a national championship with him, but I think he can take you pretty far. And at this point, I would say the playoff is pretty fucking far, right? You're one of the last 12 teams left. Jeremiah Love. I caught a lot of heat for this on Reddit, I guess, because I said that he was the best running back in the country, and maybe I was I sold that a little bit too much, but he's really, really good. Like, he has an NFL future. He'll probably be a first-round pick whenever he decides to declare. So I'm worried about him, okay? But that's all you really got to focus on. And for Indiana, I mean, throughout this entire season, they've had a really good run defense, right? They played against teams like Ohio State. Yes, they played well against them, but Ohio State's a different animal. They have better athletes all around than Notre Dame does. They held Michigan in check. We saw Michigan run the ball down, multiple teams' throat this season. That's all they can do, and Indiana held it pretty well. Again, throughout the entire season, Indiana's numbers, according to PFF, their defensive tackles, defensive linemen, all of them grade out pretty well, especially against the run. So, as far as on paper, Notre Dame's going to play exactly into what is going to play into what Indiana wants to do. Like, they want to be able to stop. They want to be able to play against the run, and that's what they're going to do. If they're going to make Riley Leonard beat him with his arm, I'm just not sure we can, because Indiana has two corners with an 80 coverage grade or better. D'Angelo Pons, who I believe he was a top transfer in the portal this year from James Madison, came along with Signetti. He is number 7 or 8, I believe, on PFF's secondary board, or cornerback grading board this season. So, I mean, again, we've talked about Notre Dame has no athletes on the edge, on the receiver side. Even if they did have one, he's going to get shut down. So they're going to have to run the ball. And again, he's playing to Indiana's strength here, which is why I'm leaning with the Hoosiers. On the other side of the ball, Notre Dame's defense is not that good, guys. I don't think it's all that good. I'm not convinced. I mean, I've seen them go up, against USC 2 weeks ago. And I'm kind of living off that game, but it meant a lot to me because I wanted to see how they would play. And I mean, to be quite frank with you guys, they did nothing that entire game on defense. USC did whatever they wanted. Indiana can run the ball. They can throw the ball. They have great receivers out there. Chad Surratt's a great receiver. I don't know. Like, the main argument I have against Indiana is that they didn't play anybody this season, right? And when they did play someone, they lost against Ohio State. You could make that exact same argument for Notre Dame. Like, they didn't play anybody this season, guys. So why am I getting 7 points with one team? Why do I have to give up 7 points? I understand they're playing at home, but that's not worth 7 points. I just think too many points. I like Indiana plus 7 here. You're giving my boy Signetti 3 weeks to prepare. I'll take the Hoosiers. Again, what Notre Dame does well is run the ball, and that's Indiana's strength on defense. If you're going to ask me who do you want to win on an air attack game, Curtis Rourke with his weapons or Riley Leonard with his weapons, I'll take Curtis Rourke, honestly. So I'm going to take the Hoosiers getting 7. The money line looks fine at plus 250-ish, I think it was. Whatever the case may be, I think the Hoosiers cover. I think they might win. I'm really excited to watch this game. One of these underdogs is going to win outright. I'm pretty sure. One of these 4 will win outright. I think it's going to be this one. I know you guys have a future on it, or I know John has a future on it, and I know Brian, the 4th member of the team, is, one of the biggest Domer fans out there. But I don't know. I just think they match up too well for me to pass up on it. I'll take the 7 points and just sit back and enjoy it.
Yeah, I think Indiana has every chance to cover this for sure. I do think it'll be tough to win at home. Shout out to our boy Brian. Hope you get better soon, bud. But yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. One of these dogs are going to win and move to the next round. It's just a matter of who's it going to be, right? This is going to be one of the best weekends. We moved to Saturday here, 12 p.m. We got SMU Penn State. 1 p.m. we got the Texans playing the Chiefs. 4 p.m. we got Clemson playing Texas. 4:30 we got the Steelers and Ravens, and 8 o'clock we got Tennessee, Ohio State. I'm not moving from my couch on Saturday.
Nope.
Let's move to this SMU at Penn State game. Spread is 8.5, over under of 54. SMU head coach Rhett Lashley has yet to cover a bowl game in his 3 postseason appearances. He now goes into the college football playoffs looking to cover his first game and win. This is going to be a pretty big step up in strength of schedule here for SMU. They don't really have a marquee win on their resume the entire season. And God forbid I back Penn State here, but my God, it's screaming Penn State to me. I don't know, man. This looks another weather game too, calling for snow and rain, cold temps. I could
I believe
definitely.
it's a whiteout game too, right?
Yeah, it's a whiteout game. Weather's going to be tough, especially on SMU. I think the run game is going to be key here. Penn State's got an incredible ground attack. Should open up the play action for Drew Aller. The defense as a whole, Penn State is right up there with one of the best defenses in the country. And we saw what Clemson's defense did to SMU the first half. They fell apart the second half, but we did see. Seemed like Dabo was kind of coaching conservative, just trying to get the game over with there. But we see what Penn State, James Franklin, Jose's mentioned it before. James Franklin's going to do everything he can to win these games. He can't win a big one, so this is a big game for him. Despite it being SMU, this is a playoff game. This is a big game for him. I like Penn State 8.5 here. I haven't played it. I do have 2 plays this weekend. It's on the next 2 games. I lean Penn State here, but Penn State's burned me enough that I'm not going to take it. Who wants to go next on this one?
After the Oregon game,
Here it comes.
I told myself, I don't care. I don't care what big game it is. Playoff, regular season, I don't care. Whatever the spread is, I'm fading Penn State. I don't care what it is. Auto fade. As soon as the number drops, I'm taking it. If it gets bigger, I'm taking it again. I don't care. I'll bet it 3 times. And yeah, here I am, 2 weeks later, and my dumb ass is betting Penn State again. I can't get enough heartbreak from this team, losing money from this team. I'm going to do it again and take Penn State. I just think physically it's going to be a different matchup than SMU's really seen before. And I think Penn State's offense, especially if they play the way they did against Oregon, I think it's going to be too much for SMU to handle. I do think Penn State has the secondary to keep up with the passing attack and from SMU. So I do think Penn State wins this game by, I'd say, at least 2 touchdowns. Look, we were high on SMU before the season. We've been high on them all year. It's awesome that they're here, but I don't see a scenario where they cover the spread or win. But I'm just telling you right now, if Penn State doesn't cover, I will be done. I absolutely will be done. I never again. If they don't cover in this game, I absolutely will be done. But I'm going back. Penn State minus 8.5. I think it's too much for SMU. I think they win by 2 touchdowns.
It's the addiction within the addiction, right? Like,
dude, it's bad.
But within the addiction, we're addicted to betting Penn State. Like, we just
3 years in a row, bet Penn State, and I ain't hit a one of them.
No, they burn us every time, bro.
3 years in a row.
I don't know. We're feeding for it, but we gotta get our fix of Penn State every week.
Every
week we can, and in a massive game, we gotta go back for it. On the SMU point, yeah, we were high on them. If you listen to us in the ACC breakdown, we pointed out SMU as a team we want to take a shot on to win their conference. Now they obviously didn't do it, but still, like, we were pretty spot on. Came down to a 50-yard field goal. But yeah, we were higher on Penn State. The market going into the season, and they proved us right. We said this would be a fun team to watch, and all season they've been a fun team to watch. But similar to the Clemson breakdown, again, SMU, for the most part, didn't really beat anybody, right? Like, I guess their best win this entire season was, Pitt or Louisville, I guess. Yeah. Probably Pitt, because at the time, Pitt was undefeated too. Mm-hmm. But, the main weakness of SMU was that they were untested. Look, I commend them for what they did against Clemson in the second half. Like, they played fantastic, right? They came back, stormed back, tied the game. Again, it took a miracle kick by Clemson to win it. But still, like in a game like that, right? In a game where it was almost win or get in. Now, obviously, they got in anyways, but going into the game, we thought there was a real chance that if they lost that game, Alabama would get in. For you to come out that flat, for you to come out and get, and to get blitzed like that, the way they did, that's kind of telling to me. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm a big fan of Rhett Lashlee as a coach. But the fact that he could not, get his team ready to go from the opening kick in a game that was potentially win or go home is concerning, you know? So I do have that in the back of my mind. Then we go over to Penn State. Well, what does Penn State do well? They have an extremely, extremely good defensive line. SMU's biggest weakness this entire season has been their O-line. By far, they can't run block. Their running back, Brashard Smith, who I think is fantastic, by the way. This is one of those few rare scenarios where I think that the running back is actually better than the offensive line. A lot of times you see the offensive line providing massive holes for the running back, make him look better than it really is. I think the running back is just much better than what the offensive line is giving him. So credit to Brashard Smith, but this defensive line for Penn State should be able to wreak a lot of havoc here. The SMU offensive line does not grade out well in the games that I have seen at SMU. Clemson was able to get pressure. Believe the first play of the game, I think they got a force. Clemson got a forced fumble on defense, and initially immediately gave SMU put SMU in a world of hurt, and that was in a neutral site. You do that here at Penn State, you're done at Happy Valley. So the offensive line, massive concern to me, and that plays into Penn State's advantage because their D line is amazing. Drew Aller. I mean, I know they didn't win, but he looked fantastic last week against Oregon. I mean, again, he didn't make the final play, but for the most part, putting up 37 points against the number one team in the country and looking the way he did, that means something to me. James Franklin, if you have to win this game, dude. You have to win this game. And again, we've talked about it. You have to win it by a lot. You have to shut the people down a little bit. You don't want this hanging over your head. So I'm going to take the Penn State minus 8.5 as well. I'm going to join you guys. I like this one. More of a play against SMU than it is backing Penn State, in my opinion. Again, I'm just concerned with the SMU line. I don't think they can provide Kevin Jennings or Brashard Smith the time or the holes necessary to compete in this one. There's levels to this going on the road in a playoff whiteout atmosphere. I think it's gonna be too much for SMU. And again, they didn't look prepared that very first half against Clemson. That is concerning to me. So I'll lay the 8.5 with Penn State. Don't love it, but I will be on Penn State.
So tune in next week when Penn State don't cover, and we all take Penn State again next week.
Hey, you know what? If we lose this bet outright and SMU wins, I'll actually be happy because that means I can't bet Penn State anymore.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to our 4:00 game. Clemson heads to Texas. We shouldn't have to worry about any weather down there in Texas. Spread of 12, Texas minus 12, over under of 51.5. This is a game I have a play on. I briefly got in at Clemson plus 13.5, minus 115. I paid a little extra right there. I saw the minus 115, but 13.5 was too much for me. I think Clemson has a serviceable defense here to stay in this game. I think Clemson's offense as a whole, if Phil Maffa can get going to some capacity, I don't know what has happened to him, but if Phil Maffa can get going to some capacity here, and Cade Klubnik can limit his turnovers, Clemson will be in this game. I think given 13 points to Dabo, like him or not, for what he does, for how he coaches, for how he goes about the portal, like him or not, he's got a ton of experience in the playoffs, a ton of experience as a coach, as a head coach as a whole here. 13 points just seems like a lot of points to be given a head coach and a team like Clemson, in my opinion. Texas still to this day hasn't proved much to me this season. They got beat by Georgia both times. The first time they got their butts handed to them, throwing three, and Georgia threw 3 picks. We've talked about that game a lot. And then Georgia beats them again, and they had a backup quarterback in the second half. Mm-hmm. Texas they haven't shown me anything here. I don't think Quinn Ewers is the answer. I think if they and I know we haven't seen them playing much, but if Arch Manning came in, they would have a legitimate chance of maybe winning it all and covering this game. But I lean Clemson here. I think there's too much experience, especially with Dabo and this team as a whole. The defense is serviceable enough to keep them in this game. I do think Texas wins this game, but I have it closer to about 8 or 9. 13 is just too much for me. And I got the hook at 13.5, so it was worth it. I really like Clemson here. this is probably my favorite play on the weekend.
If I had to rank like the games in terms of which team has the best chance of winning in terms of underdogs to lowest, I would probably put Clemson at 2. Because again, as John said, I just can't trust Texas, guys. And you touched about Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning. I think if things don't start out good with Texas right away, I mean, there's going to be some real energy in the crowd to get Arch Manning into the game. You don't want that in a playoff game, But at this point of the season, every other team in the CFP knows who their guy is, right? Like they know for sure, 100% fact, this is their guy. Texas, I don't know, man. Like I just feel like some fans out there, they kind of want to see Arch Manning. Quinn Ewers has been pretty underwhelming, and we can back that up by the fact that he's not even guaranteed a spot next year. Like very seldomly do you see a quarterback who was the number 1 overall recruit in the country at one point, was the Heisman favorite, lead his team to the college football playoff in the SEC, and then essentially being told, you know what, you're not good enough, dude. You got to go out. You got to leave next year.
Encouraging him to leave.
Yeah, encourage him to say, you know what, you got to go. Like, to me, that doesn't – if I was Quinn Ewers, I wouldn't have the most confidence in myself right now. The fact that everyone else is telling me, hey, you got to go next year, dude. You're just not good enough. We have heights that we should be reaching that you're not able to reach for us. And that's concerning. Again, that raises an eyebrow for me. Hot take, just want to put it out there real quick. I think Cade Klubnik is a prime candidate to transfer next season as well. I just don't think he's going to be back at Clemson. I think
I agree.
Overall, the Cade Klubnik, Garrett Riley relationship just hasn't came to fruition the way a lot of people expected it. And it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if Caden Klubnik decided to transfer out and try somewhere else. But listen, as far as this game goes, right? Like again, it's more of a play against Texas, similar to the Penn State game, where I don't believe in this team. Like I've seen this team play 12, 13 games this season, and each time I watch them play, like they look fine, but they don't look elite, right? Like against Arkansas, for example, Tyler, your Hogs, like that was a game Texas should have won by 30. But they didn't. Like it was a relatively close game. It was a competitive game, right? Against Georgia both times, and John already touched on it as well. No Carson Beck second half. Texas just can't pull away. In fact, they lose both games outright. Great teams don't do that. Elite teams don't do that. Elite teams put those games away. So I agree with John. I'm going to take Clemson 13.5 here. The only concern I have backing Clemson is that they can't stop the run, like at all. And Texas can run the ball extremely well. They also have probably the best offensive line in the country. So that could be a problem. But this is one of those situations where I think playing at home in a way might affect Texas. It might hurt Texas because, again, if they don't come out hot, they don't come out quick, Clemson scores 7-0 really quickly, the energy in that crowd is going to go down. You can hear a pen drop probably because everyone's going to be nervous. Yeah. Everyone's going to be thinking, no way, we're going to lose this one. If it's not going well, we want to see Arch Manning. And that's going to hurt your football team as a whole. So if Clemson comes out quickly and goes up 7-0, maybe 10-0, 10-3 lead right away, that home field advantage can quickly become a disadvantage for Texas, if you understand what I'm trying to say, because that crowd is not going to put up with that, and they may be clamoring for Arch Manning at some point throughout that game.
Yeah, I agree. And another thing, real quick here, I mentioned it. Dabo is a smart coach, regardless of what anyone says, and he has a ton of experience. If Isaiah Bond is out this game, I could really, the defense does struggle to stop the run, but I could really see Dabo make an adjustment here and focus on stopping the run and make Ewers throw the ball. But I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out. Tyler, you got anything to add to this game?
No, I'll be all over Clemson. Line makes absolutely no sense to me. Like Texas, in any game that they played a team with any sort of a pulse, have they ever looked like they were, a very good football team? They definitely haven't showed me that they are honestly double-digit favorites, much less 12-point to you got 13.5, 2 touchdown favorites in a college football playoff game. Regardless, if it's at home, and same thing with what Jose was saying, is Quinn Ewers is getting forced out, basically, in a nice way of putting it. But he's getting pushed out the door. So,
but have we seen that before? Like, I feel like I've never seen this where like a quarter, you know what I mean? At what point this guy was the Heisman favorite? Like, you know what I mean?
It's just the world we live in now too, with the transfer portal as a whole.
Yeah, it's funny because we know Arch Manning is better. Like I don't know. We all have that assumption he's better, but yet they still play Quinn Ewers because I'm assuming they're just loyalty. I guess I don't know. Like I would have made the switch a while ago.
And there was some rumors of teams. And I wholeheartedly believe this, heavily pursuing Arch. We'll give you whatever you want. Just leave. Come here. We'll give you however much money you want. You know what I mean? So. No, he's not leaving. He's staying there. He's been behind. He's been sitting for 2 years now.
Arch don't need money. Trust me, his family.
No. But he's been sitting behind Ewers for 2 years now, right?
Yeah, at this point, if he's stuck around 2 years, he's not gonna leave.
Yeah,
I waited my turn. I'm gonna get my
got,
chance.
I mean, what's sad is we're going to see him 1 year in college and he's gone. He's going to be in the NFL.
Hey, you know, with this new Diego Pavi rule, we could see him 5 more years in college. Who knows at this point?
Yeah.
And now they're gonna say if you redshirted, that don't count at all. You know.
Alan Bowman and what's his name, Cam Rising, come back for their 8th year.
Well, Alan Bowman actually declared, so I give him credit.
Yeah, he did. He did.
You know,
it's just the fact that he even had the
but
option to come back is crazy to me.
the only argument I'll accept, like, in regards to, like, yeah, we shouldn't see 25, 26-year-old guys play against college kids. That's not right. But to be fair, like, I mean, the way some of these high school athletes are coming out nowadays, these guys are jacked for their age. So some of them would hold up well, you know. Also, like, BYU and Utah, all the Utah schools in theory should always have the advantage, but they don't because, you know, a lot of times they suck, BYU and Utah State especially. But like a lot of their players go on like those Mormon trips or like those missions when they get to BYU, and by the time they come back and play, they're like 24 as well. So, you know, but again, that's just one school. You expand it to a bigger scale, the entire country. Yeah, it'd probably be a much bigger deal.
Speaking of BYU, they got the #1 basketball recruit. But
moving
on from that, we move on to my favorite game of the weekend. One of the most hyped games. A lot of talk about Tennessee invading Ohio State, buying up all the tickets. They're going to send their 350-pound linemen to plant a flag in the middle of the field when they win. I mean, it's been wild over here. Tennessee at Ohio State -7.5, over under of 46. Possibly Ryan Day's job on the line here. I have already taken Tennessee +7.5, -115. But I want to hear what you guys say, and then I'll kind of break down why I took Tennessee.
I am not going to lie to you, John. I implore you to buy out of that bet. Ohio State is going to beat. They're not going to lose this game. They will not lose this game. They were going to win by double digits. I'm sorry. You know what has Tennessee done, especially on offense, to make you think they're going to go into Ohio State and compete with Ohio State's defense? Because Nico has not lived up to the hype. That's a fair assessment. He has not played the way we thought he thought. Like, even when the season started, the first few games of the season, we thought, oh, wow, Nico's the guy. He looks amazing. He can win the Heisman. I thought I was just shot one of my eyebrows at one point. I was like, this guy looks really, really good. You know, he looked really, really good. He fell off a cliff. Like, teams started to figure him out, and he has not been playing the way. I'm not saying he's playing horrible, but he's not playing the way at the level we all thought he could. Dylan Sampson's fantastic. He's amazing. He's what they got. But this Tennessee offense, we expected to be explosive. It's not that explosive, guys. Like, it's not the most explosive offense out there. Not what we're accustomed to seeing. The receivers are okay. Nothing amazing. I wouldn't say, oh, this guy's a game breaker by any means. And they're going up against Ohio State secondary that's really, really good. Now, you could run an Ohio State. So if you want to feed Dylan Sampson the ball all game, be my guest. But to win at this level in the CFP, you have to be able to throw the ball consistently. Not to mention the fact that every time Nico plays on the road, he does not play well. Not to mention he lost to Arkansas, by the way. He only threw for 150 yards that game. At Oklahoma, threw for 170. At Georgia, threw for like 180. I don't think he passed 200 yards at all on the road this season. So now you're going to trust him to go up to Ohio State, up to Columbus, and magically put it all together? I don't think so. You know, I know there's a lot of talk about Tennessee taking over the stadium. They very well might. I mean, I'm not familiar with the volunteer family, John. I know you live in Tennessee, so maybe you can fill us in on how true these reports are.
They do travel well. They travel really
but
well.
I know they travel well. Yeah. So I'll give them the credit there. But just overall, Tennessee hasn't shown me anything this season to make me think they compete against a big boy team. The best team they beat all year was Alabama. That's who they're hanging their hat on this season. They said, hey, we beat Alabama. We didn't really beat anybody else, but we got Bama. We got him at home. We got him off a hurt Jalen Milroe. Okay? He was not at 100% that game. It was a game that Tennessee had to come back and win, by the way. They were losing for majority of that game. I just don't buy it. I just don't see it. Ohio State's battle tested. One thing I know about Ryan Day, for better or for worse, when Ohio State plays in these big games, these massive games, like, you know, maybe besides the Michigan game, all time, they show up. Like, they play hard, you know? I kind of linked this back to Georgia a few years ago when they played against Georgia in the playoff when Georgia won, I think it was back-to-back natties. Game. That was an incredible game, right? I think Ohio State was the 4 seed. And I find myself always betting Ohio State in the playoffs because whatever the circumstances are, they show up. I know I can count on this team to go out there and play. I'll lay the 7.5. I don't think it's going to be that close, to be honest with you. I don't see what Tennessee does. I don't see how Nico magically transforms himself into playing at a high level at Ohio State. I respect Josh Heupel. I respect the hell out of Dylan Sampson. I think he's a fantastic running back, has a great career ahead of him. But you need more than that at this point. You need more. And this Ohio State defense is legit. This Ohio State secondary is legit. I just think they're going to give Nico too many problems. So I'll take Ohio State lane 7.5. I feel very strongly about this one. I talked about a little bit earlier how I put Clemson number 2 in terms of upsets. I would put Tennessee at the bottom. I don't think they have a chance to win this game. In fact, if Tennessee wins this game, Tyler, John, you guys let me think about something reasonable I could do, because I'll do something if Tennessee wins this game. They are not going to win this game. Tyler, you go ahead and talk. Let me think of something.
Okay. Yeah. Last week, I know in the episode last week, I knew I said I had leaned Tennessee. And then I did a little research and digging into some things, and it was precisely for every point that Jose just talked about. One, Tennessee has not played very good on the road. And I was going to bring up the Arkansas game, which Jose covered. Nico looked like shit. And then even when Tennessee beat Alabama at home, Nico looked like shit. And outside of a handful of games, he hasn't performed, well at all. The only thing that would keep me from betting Ohio State in this game, which I'm going to bet Ohio State, but the only thing that kind of kept me from it was the fact that the front line for both sides of the ball for Tennessee is that, and Dylan Sampson. I think Dylan Sampson is incredibly underrated. And the two things that travel very well, regardless of conditions, away game, whatever, is the big dudes up front on both sides of the ball in the run game. That travels regardless. So that's the one thing that was kind of keeping me from it. But at some point, it's going to come down to Nico having to make a play throwing the ball. Probably having to make quite a few plays throwing the ball, because I think that Ohio State is going to be keyed in on the fact of, like, hey, we're going to stop the run, and we're going to make him throw the ball. If they're going to beat us, they're going to beat us through the air, and I just don't think that they can do it. So, with that being said, I know I was leaning Tennessee last week just off the fact of the front lines for Tennessee being able to match up physically with Ohio State and then being able to run the ball, and it travels well. But it's going to come down to Nico at some point in time, because, Ryan Day, he's going to know, like, hey, we're going to have to make them throw the ball. And I don't think that they're going to be able to do it enough to stay in it. So I'll be on Ohio State this weekend as well.
That's a fantastic point, Tyler, because I didn't bring it up. But Tennessee's advantage by far is their defensive line on defense.
Yeah.
Ohio State's offensive line is not that good. So if Tennessee's defensive line can play at a high level like they're capable of, it could be a very interesting game. I don't want to steal your thunder too much, John, so go ahead. But that was a great point, because I forgot to bring that up. But yes, Tennessee's defensive line does have the capacity to just wreak havoc in this game and take it over.
Mm-hmm.
But just overall, I think at this level, you need to have great quarterback play to compete, especially against really good teams. And I just don't see it with Nico. I'm still thinking about what I could do. But I have a few ideas, and I'll run them by you guys after. But
we got a couple.
Tennessee wins this game, I will do something.
Yeah. We got a couple people in the chat, too. Said, who's in a bigger chance of getting fired if they lose the first game, Ryan Day or James Franklin?
Ryan Day. If Ryan Day loses Tennessee at home,
that's a really good question.
Sorry, I don't even. I have the chat pulled up. I didn't see anything. Is there any other ones, Tyler?
My boy B Magic said Hard Knocks was a distraction for pros. Hard to believe it wouldn't be for the kids. Going back to the Netflix.
Oh, the Netflix documentary.
The Netflix documentary. And then just that other one, who has a bigger chance of getting fired, losing the first game, Ryan Day or James Franklin.
Right.
James Franklin has not won anything, though.
Anything.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I think there's bigger implications if Ohio State loses this game.
Yeah, I'll say Ryan Day, but James Franklin, man, he's right there.
I was listening to or I saw a clip the other day that kind of makes some sense, and I hadn't done a whole lot of looking into it since I listened to it. But you know who could end up being the head coach of Ohio State if they do get rid of Ryan Day? Vrabel.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's an alum there.
Yeah, exactly. He's an alum. I mean, it makes sense. There's no reason he shouldn't be a head coach right now in the league, but
I think that's on
especially
his own accord.
Yeah, those are all
With-
great questions.
I think he
with Bill
chose
coming
Matt.
down to college. I think he has a good chance of being
I've
the
seen a
next
lot of
coach of Ohio
people.
State.
I've seen a lot of people interested in Vrabel lately. But those are great questions from the chat. You all can keep them coming. I'm sorry, I had it pulled up here, but it's not showing in Riverside, so it's just showing on YouTube. And then real quick, I'm gonna give my thoughts here. I think you guys make very valid points. I think you guys make great points about this Ohio State Tennessee game. It is my favorite game of the weekend. I'm super excited for it. I swear, I think I'm. God, I hope Davis ain't listening. I think I might be a closet Vols fan because every time this team plays in a big game or something, I'm always betting on them.
You're not a closet. Like you're very outspoken. You've shown
Yeah.
everything you've ever shown us makes me believe you're a volunteer fan.
The problem now too is my son is running around the house screaming "Go Vols," watching Tennessee basketball every day, wanting a Tennessee jersey. Like I'm just like, oh my god.
Just
but
jump
yeah.
ship. I mean, at this point, you might as well just jump ship.
The Vols here. I think the Vols have the best chance to upset this weekend. Speaking of you need a quarterback to play here. I don't trust Will Howard. I think he has the better playmakers on the perimeter. I don't trust him to get the ball to them. I think Tennessee's defense is their strong suit here. Their front seven, their corners have played well. Will Howard even pointed it out in a press conference about McCoy, number 3, the corner for Tennessee, how well he has played.
That's true.
I love Tennessee here. I think they're going to be able to run the ball with Dylan Sampson. And one thing that you pointed out, Jose, is you give Kurt Cinetti 3 weeks here. I think you give Josh Heupel 3 weeks here to get ready for this game. On the offensive side of the ball, he is an offensive mastermind. We saw it when he was at UCF. These boys have been getting healthy. They do have a good offensive line to run behind. I think that you give Josh Heupel 3 weeks, he's going to dial up something here to keep the Vols in this game and possibly win outright, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I think he trusts his defense. I think he trusts Dylan Sampson. I think you're going to see Nico use his legs a little bit more here to open this game up more for the pass game. I love the Vols here at plus 7.5. I might even sprinkle some on the money line here. I think Tennessee can get it done. I trust Nico more than Will Howard. I know Nico hasn't done a whole lot for us to love him, right? But he did show sparks of life there at the beginning of the season against inferior teams. But the whole team was healthy here, and Josh Heupel, with his offensive mind, is going to be able to dial something up to possibly win this game. Go ahead.
A quick response, and I mean I agree with your points. I'm not saying anything, but as far as Will Howard goes, I think we might be looking a little bit too much into that Michigan game because against Oregon he played great, and against Penn State he played fine, and against Indiana he played really good. Like it was really just that Michigan game that he didn't play all that well in, and the game plan in itself wasn't the best. A lot of they were trying to run the ball way too much against Michigan. The few times they did go air raid on the offense with Will Howard, he played fine. They had a 2-minute drill right before at the end of the first half, and they marched down and scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
So
the problem with Will Howard, though, in my opinion, is you put him up against a good defense like Tennessee, like Michigan's, and he does make mistakes, and he does look a little lost out there because you take away these superior athletes that Ohio State has at running back and receiver. So I think that Tennessee can stay in this game. I think it will be somewhat of a lower scoring game. I think both teams are going to be relying on their defense here. I got Vols 21-20. I don't know. And the rumors of them invading Ohio State, the Vols fans, I'm not 100% sure about that. I do think there will be a heavy Vols fan base there. I know some Ohio State people was, saying don't let them buy all the tickets, this and that, whatever. I think there will be a heavy Vols fan base there, but I still think it will be about 45-55.
John, do you know any
45 Vols, 55 Ohio State?
Do you personally know any like volunteer fans that like go to the like travel or part of like the booster club?
Yeah,
any sort of
I know a decent amount. Yes,
because if they win this week, they'll be at the Rose Bowl next weekend, and I will be at that game against Oregon. So if you know anyone, feel free to shoot them my information, and I can maybe go to their tailgate or something.
Okay.
And maybe I could do some ridiculous thing there to make up for the fact that Ohio State didn't win.
If are you going? Okay, you're going to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, Tennessee. The winner of this game plays against Oregon at the Rose Bowl, so I'll be there.
Okay, if Tennessee wins, you have to wear a Tennessee jersey. To the
That's
Rose
fine. I'll
Bowl.
go there.
That's your
So,
punishment.
but I'm thinking here's my promo scenario though. If Tennessee wins this game during next summer on a day where it's 100 degrees, I will drive down to Warren High School in Downey, where Nico Imaliava went to high school, and for however many completions he has, that's how many laps I'll run around whatever track they have at the high school. Because they're not going to win this game. They will. There's no way.
You gotta live stream it.
I'll live stream myself. If Nico has 25 completions, I'll run 25 laps around his track. His high school.
You can't stop.
I mean, I won't stop, and it's got like a 20. It's only like a 25-minute drive for me.
I know you got good cardio, but you can't stop.
So if he does that, if they win this game, whatever completions he has, you know, I'll run that many times around the track. But even more so, if he wins this game, I'll go out and I'll buy myself a Nico jersey somewhere before next Wednesday, and I'll wear it to the Rose Bowl.
All right. I think you guys do make valid points, though. Looks like we'll just be on separate ends of that game. Hopefully all these games are good. But I lean the Vols here. I like the Vols.
Yeah. Well, with Ohio State against Michigan, that's 1,000% mental. I personally,
I get that.
I personally I throw that game out. I don't even use that to look at anything. Truthfully, I don't. That's 1,000% mental. When it comes to that, honestly,
I don't discredit it. Like, you know, it was a loss. Like, it was a tough loss to take. You know, and I know it hurt. But like, I mean, let's not pretend like Ohio State's not a bad team, guys. They went toe to toe with Oregon at Oregon, a game they probably could have won. That was a fantastic game, by the way. I want to point that out. Like that was potential game of the year right there. Mm-hmm. They played well. They played fantastic in that game against Penn State as well. They won. They beat Penn State at Penn State. Like they played great in that game as well. And then we saw them play against Indiana and beat the crap out of Indiana, an Indiana team that I'm high on. So I'm not going to sit here and just pretend Ohio State is a bad team because they lost to Michigan. I mean, again, just to be frank, like John, you have a future on Notre Dame. They lost to Northern Illinois. You know, like sometimes you just lose, you know, and a rivalry game like that, like that's much more understandable. Like you just, you know, it is what it is. You got beat, bro. Like it is what you know what I mean? Yeah.
So
John, I know you're a diehard Vol fan. But I'm gonna try and talk you out of this one as it gets closer.
Okay.
But again, if that's the promise I'm making right here. If Nico wins and whatever how many completions he has, I will run that many times around a track at his high school.
Okay. All right, and that's our college football breakdown, playoff breakdown here. I'll kind of give out my bets real quick. You guys can give out your final bets, and then we'll cover a couple other small things and wrap it up. But like I said, my bets, I did go Clemson plus 13.5, minus 115. I love that play. Too many points for an experienced coach, an experienced team against a team that hasn't shown me much. Clemson plus 13.5. I love that play. I love it down to 12. I've seen it 12, 12.5, 13. It kind of been all over the place. So Clemson plus whatever, playable down to 12. I am on the Vols plus 7.5. That is my two individual plays this weekend, and I do have two futures on both sides of the bracket. One I placed at the beginning of the year, Oregon plus 800 to win it all, and Notre Dame plus 800 that I placed before the playoffs started here. So those are my plays for the college football playoffs / this weekend. Jose, what you got?
Friday night, Indiana plus 7, Indiana money line. I'll have both going. Like it a lot. I think this is a fantastic opportunity for Cignetti to show the world on a national level that he is the real deal, and why I think he did win Coach of the Year already. So you know, credit to him. Indiana plus 7, then SMU Penn State. I'm gonna lay the 8.5 one last time with Penn State. If they don't cover this spread, I hope they lose so that I don't have to bet them anymore. I'm done with them. But I'll lay the 8.5 with Penn State. Don't like it that much. But I will do it. Clemson getting 13.5 here, or 13, whatever it may be, against Texas. Don't love it either, but I think it's too many points, like John highlighted. And again, I don't trust Quinn Ewers. I think he might be in his own head here. Not the confidence level might not be at the point it should be at this point. So I'll take Clemson. And then my favorite play of the weekend is Ohio State laying 7 at home against Tennessee. I think this is a fantastic opportunity for an Ohio State team to bounce back and show everyone they still are one of the elite teams in the country. So those are my 4 plays. Yeah, those 4. Tyler.
Yeah, mine's the same place. I'll be on Indiana tomorrow night. Clemson plus whatever the number is, I don't care. I'm taking it, and then I do like Ohio State as well. Going against Tennessee. I'm going back one last time for Penn State.
Oh,
Why? I don't know. I like being miserable, I guess.
This might be what I'm most excited for this weekend is to see the group chat as Penn State starts losing. Just to see
Yeah.
Tyler's reaction.
I'm
to see
going
the
to
meltdown.
lose my shit.
Just to see
I'm just
Tyler's
gonna tell you
reaction
right
as Penn
now.
State starts losing.
Yeah, so that's what I'll be on. I'll be on Penn State one last time. I hope they don't cover because then I'll be done with it. So
Okay, can you guys quickly go through and rank your underdogs by most likely to least likely to upset? Because I would go Indiana, Clemson, SMU, Tennessee.
I'll put Clemson at 1. I'd flip flop the front too. Do Clemson at 1.
You think Clemson has the best chance to win outright?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do. And it's more of a knock against Texas as opposed to in favor of Clemson.
I'll go 1 Tennessee, 2 Clemson, 3 Indiana, 4 SMU.
Interesting.
Yeah.
None of us are high on SMU to win this week.
No.
So that means they're gonna win.
Yeah, so I was gonna say. So if you have some extra cash hanging around, just throw some on SMU money.
Yeah.
Quick little tidbits here, and we'll kind of start closing this up here. I know we don't listen. I don't care. Quick shout out to Travis for Travis Hunter winning the Heisman. Two-way player, probably number 1 pick in the draft. Shout out to him. Ashton Jenny, shout out to you. You had a hell of a year. And then I want to shout out. I know me and Tyler watched that game. That Detroit Buffalo game, man. That game was one heck of a game. Back and forth the whole time. Josh Allen is playing out of his freaking mind right now. So shout out to that game, and we'll kind of dive into a quick little NFL segment here in just a second. And I'm going to run through some college basketball really quick for you guys. One thing that I've been keying on here lately in college basketball, there are conference games starting up in some of these conferences. One thing that I've really been keying on lately is teams playing at home. I've noticed here lately just playing at home on these close spreads, -1, -2, whatever. The home team seems to just win, pull away at the end, whatever it may be. That's something I've noticed lately. It's something I've been keying up on. We don't have a whole lot of games tomorrow, but we do have some really good games on Saturday. I'll throw some out there really quick for Jose as well. We'll just do a couple games here, but neutral site game, Auburn playing Purdue. Auburn, I got Auburn in that game.
Is Janai Broom going to play? Because I know he's injured.
Yeah, I think he is. It's a neutral site game.
If he plays, I'll take Auburn.
Yeah. Let's see. Marquette going to Xavier. One thing I was going to say really quick about this game is Xavier took it to the wire to UConn the other night. A team that I'm kind of not lower on this year. I knew that they would be due for some regression, and they have shown that this year. Xavier has extremely, extremely good guards. They did that without Zach Freemantle the other night. I love Xavier here, whatever they may be. They will be underdogs most likely, but I like Xavier at home in that game. Their guard play is phenomenal, and I think they are a threat to go far in the tournament. There was another game here. UConn is going to Butler, one of the hardest places to play in college basketball. Butler has an amazing arena. I love Butler here. Whatever the spread may be, I think they'll hang and possibly win outright against UConn. Florida stays undefeated. Kentucky, Ohio State neutral site game. Jose, you got anything on that one? I lean Kentucky there.
Well, what's the projected spread on that one? What would you say?
-5 for Kentucky.
Who's getting 5?
Ohio State's +5.
Oh,
it's a neutral site.
Slightly in Ohio State, slightly.
Yeah. And then the last game that I want to highlight really quickly here, a coach I do not believe in, but a team I do believe in. UCLA playing North Carolina at a neutral site. North Carolina has struggled lately. They've been leading in 3 of these games with like 2 to 3 minutes left, and then they ultimately lose outright. I do not think Hubert Davis is a good coach. However, I do think he has a really good team. I do think that at some point they will start closing these games out, and UCLA is due for a little bit of regression here. They should be favored, especially since it is a neutral site game. I will be on North Carolina for that game, money line, most likely on Saturday.
I watched the end of that North Carolina Florida game, and after the game, Elliot Cadeau was like crying on the way back to his locker room.
I saw that. Yeah.
RJ Davis looked heartbroken. The vibes in North Carolina right now aren't that good because they're actually playing really hard. But to keep playing that hard and keep coming up short, it's got to be just demoralizing.
Yeah, they're very good and very solid team.
I think this is a perfect spot to buy low.
Yeah, I agree. I'll be on North Carolina this weekend. And then if you want to bet anything right now, bet the SEC. They are 50-4 in the month of December. The SEC is dominating basketball right now. They are 50-4 in the month of December. Florida is undefeated. Tennessee's undefeated. Oklahoma is undefeated. Then you got a bunch of teams with 1 loss. Georgia, Vandy, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Auburn, Missouri, and Kentucky all have 1 losses. The SEC is just dominating right now in college basketball. And then we'll move on from that. Any NFL games you guys want to highlight real quick? I'm seeing Phillies playing the Commanders. That should be a pretty good game. I know we got the Texans and the Chiefs on Saturday. Both of those are 3.5. Anything you guys got for any of these games? I know I'm kind of throwing this at you without no warning.
I Steelers Ravens game should be pretty good.
Yeah,
that's a Saturday night game, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the other Saturday night game.
It's just a shame because we won't be watching that one at all.
No.
I'll have it on like on a secondary screen, but that will not get any. That's gonna be when it goes to commercial or halftime in the Tennessee Ohio State game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think Mahomes is confirmed playing this weekend, right? The line just jumped back.
He's good to go. He's good to go.
Yeah. So that Houston game should be pretty interesting to watch. But overall, last week's slate was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't catch too much of that Lions Bills game, but from what I did see, looked fantastic.
Yeah.
The NFL heating up. We're excited. We'll be here.
Yep. And then the Falcons moved to Michael Penix, bench Kirk Cousins after his massive contract. Kirk's been struggling. I think he's in his own head. They get the Giants this week. It's a good place for them to see what Penix can do, right?
I'm curious to see what he can do. Sorry, Tyler.
No, go ahead.
I'm still a believer that it was more Kalen DeBoer than it was Michael Penix. So I'm interested to see how he plays without DeBoer.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll find out. But I going into the draft, I was a little hesitant on Penix just because I thought DeBoer was the mastermind behind it all. But now it's time to see.
Yeah.
And then shout out to my boy Tobe. He's our NBA guy. The Bucks win the NBA Cup. A little bit of investigation in the NBA. I know we don't follow NBA too heavily, but there's an investigation going on in why there's so many 3-pointers being taken, field goal attempted 3-pointers in the NBA now. A lot of players and the commissioner, Adam Silver himself, has raised concerns about the amount of 3-pointers that are being taken in the game, the NBA game now. Well, any takes on that?
I have a pretty simple take, and I think it's accurate. From 3-pointers are worth more than 2-pointers, so yeah. you should try.
I honestly don't see why there's such a problem with it, but whatever.
Well, from what I've been seeing, it looks like the NBA ratings are down significantly.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. It's just what I've been seeing on Twitter, but it's not doing well right now in comparison to pretty much every other sport. Like baseball is doing better, NFL is doing amazing as always. College sports are doing really good. NBA seems to be the only one that's coming downhill. For me, I think it's mainly because you don't know, if I tune into an NBA game, I don't even know who's playing at that point. I turn into a Sixers game. Is Joel Embiid going to play, or is he injured, or is he on? Is he resting? Yeah. I turn into a Clippers game. It's one of the local teams around here. Is Kawhi Leonard going to play? Are they resting? So many guys are resting nowadays. I'm not even sure who's actually on the court and who's not.
Yeah.
LeBron James taking a few days, whatever he needed to take a few days for. What's the point of tuning in if you can't even rely on these guys to actually play? And if they're playing, how hard are they playing?
That's why I love college sports so much, man. Those guys, those kids, they show out every game. They give it everything they got. They're trying to make it to the big level, make it to the big leagues. I've loved college basketball my entire life. Everyone knows that. College football.
I think if you love the NBA and you want to watch more basketball, a lot of people just assume go watch college basketball, but that's not the case. If you love the NBA, you should probably get into high school basketball because the high school game is a lot closer to the NBA than what college is. like in colleges, the coaches will call out plays, they'll run sets, they have specific things they have to run on any given scenario. NBA, it's not like that.
Yeah.
Like like JJ Redick is not calling out no play. Like LeBron James gets the ball, he'll decide what they're gonna do. You know, a lot of the times they're just playing 1-on-1 and hoisting up threes. If you like watching that, that's fine. But I prefer the college game because I watch, players, coaches actually, have some influence on their team and they call out specific sets and plays for them to run. I like that more, personally.
And that's kind of going to wrap it up for this week, guys. We are in the heart of the college football playoffs, college basketball season. We're right in the heart of it as well. First and foremost, I want to thank every single one of you guys that listen. I want to thank Tyler, Jose. It's been an amazing year. I wish every single one of you happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever it may be you celebrate. I hope you guys have a really good holiday. Merry Christmas. And we will be here next week. I believe we agreed on Wednesday night, right, fellas? Christmas night. We're going to release be live. Is that correct?
That should be correct.
Yeah.
That's definitely the plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll be back Wednesday night, so I'll be good. I'll be good to go.
I just want to agree with John real quick. I appreciate everybody tuning in. We thought we'd have like 10 viewers this entire year, and I don't know where we're at, but I know it's in the hundreds, maybe in the thousands. So, we're happy with it. We're building the brand. Finished the year 25-11 in regular season and college and the conference championships. So we'll have some more coming out, obviously for the CFP. Make sure you follow us on our socials and actions to get those picks. Again, just appreciate it. We only have a few episodes left of college football, I believe. Like, 2 more, 3 more max? It's been an amazing ride. I love it. I think back to, July when we're doing our ACC breakdowns and stuff like that, getting all that stuff ready to go. I think it's fair to say that stuff did help. Again, we had a great season. And excited for next season already, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yep. We ain't going anywhere. We'll still be here every week up through the NFL and the college basketball March Madness tournament. We also host a March Madness tournament every year. But like I said, happy holidays. We love you all. We appreciate all the love. Merch coming soon. Don't forget about the giveaway. 50 subscriber giveaway. You can win a $50 gift card and some exclusive Boulevard merch. We will be back next week, continuing college football, college basketball. Then we'll slowly transition into NFL and college basketball. Quick shout out to our Action Networks. If you want to stay up to date on picks, mine is Jay Humphrey 25. Post picks every day. Jose 808 over on Action. Post picks every day. My boy Big T, Tyler Lyles 918. You'll see his on there. He does a lot of NFL plays as well as the Boulevard Action Network. It is _Boulevard. Yeah, _Boulevard. So you guys go over there, follow those on Action. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. You can be entered. Comment who you think will be in the college football playoff to get in this 50 subscriber giveaway. We will be back next week on Christmas Eve, or on Christmas night. I'm sorry, not Christmas Eve, on Christmas night. Happy holidays. We love you guys. You guys got anything you want to add?
Holidays. Stay safe.
Yeah, we'll be back. Sucks it's almost over, but
I'm just getting you ready for basketball, Big T.
Hey, we're here. I'm here.
I'm getting you ready. Me and Jose are going to get you ready for college basketball after it's over.
Yeah.
Go Buckeyes. Go Hoosiers, really.
Yeah.
Go Vols. Oh, God. Take that out.
All right.
All right. Peace out. Y'all have a good one. All right. It should be good now.
Yeah, you're good.
Right. Hell yeah. Good episode. Oh, man. Wow. Tyler.
Hi.
It says we're still live.
Huh?
It shows we're still live.
We're still live, baby.
My boy didn't.